How's it going there, Mr. 411?
Zach is great, man. And we're back.
Yes,
We're
we
back.
are. Pretty quick turnaround, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, very quick. And man, in the season, man, it's getting closer and closer to the end now. We're 2 games into the finals, and it's one game apiece. So we got to talk about it.
Yes, sir.
All right, everything's good on your end.
No complaints. Still waiting for that 1.2 after taxes, but other than that, good to go.
All right, all right then. Well, I guess we'll get into it, man. As always,
Yes,
are you
sir.
ready?
As I said, we need to get that Pastor Troy going. I think I might have some for you the next time you say that. But
All
yes,
right then.
I'm ready.
All right, Sports Brothers.
All righty.
Yeah,
How
man.
have you
Today,
been?
oh man, everything's great. I'm ready. Uh, Great productive day today. And man, it was an interesting game last night, and I can't wait for us to talk about it because we got a lot of layers in there that we got to discuss.
Okay, I just want to check. I feel like we've been so business like lately. We just hop on and we get to it. It's kind of like wham bam, thank you, man. But all right, glad to know life is going well.
All right, thank you. Welcome everybody to the show, Sports Brothers Show. He's Zach. I'm Mr. 411. Today we're gonna talk about game two. Give our game three predictions. We're gonna talk about Draymond Green and the technical foul situation, and we'll throw in some NBA news. So we have some things to take care of today, but we do thank you all for being here. Today is June the 6th, 2022. NBA season is approaching the end, but Sports Brothers will dig into the finals. But before we do all of that, we need you to do the following, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that is, right, Zach?
I have an idea. And it is exactly what I thought it was. Well, you're
Stay in
doing your
tune.
mime impression now, so that's cool. You're showing us new skills.
Okay, appreciate that. But yeah, so please hit those buttons for us. It does nothing but help us, and we greatly appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
All right, topic number one, Zach. Let's get on to the news and notes of the NBA, in particular the NBA. This is an NBA centric episode, and man, across the league, you know, there's only 2 teams remaining right now, and all the other teams are looking to get where the teams are right now is to the finals. And man, Phoenix Suns, which is a team that was heavily favored to make the finals, they're in the news today. Their current center, DeAndre Ayton, is looks like he's about to exit Phoenix. Man, looks like he's heading out. He's like more than likely played his last game in a Phoenix Sun uniform.
If I'm gonna chime in about that, I'm not so certain because I believe he's a restricted free agent. Uh, and we've seen how this stuff goes in the past. He's gonna go out there try and get a deal. So this is what ask you: would Phoenix match 20 million a year for him?
Nah, I don't know, man. I think
Why,
I
in your
don't know what the
mind?
number is going to be for them. I
Like,
mean,
because
I'm
I
not
got,
certain because. Oh, go ahead.
well, I would say because they can't be expected to pay him $10 million a year, and I would say they probably can't be expected to pay him 15 million. So it's got to start, I would think, at 20. So if they won't pay him 20, then they just not gonna pay him because he's probably from like a Detroit, I think, The teams that have money, Detroit, Orlando, and some of those better than me because you seem to, while you don't know the cap stuff that well, you do always have an idea of how a guy will fit here or there. Like,
Yeah,
is Detroit, would Detroit pay $20 million a year for Aiden?
I think Detroit would. Detroit is a place that, again, we don't see the major free agents running there. And for them to get a young talent who could potentially become a perennial all star, I mean, he has that type of potential. And Detroit is they have a young nucleus already. Cunningham is a turn seems he'll end up becoming a perennial all star down the line. I think that's a great place for Aiton to end up there. Detroit would be happy to have him. Whatever it is going on in Phoenix, it just definitely is not something that's in the works, and it looks like it's coming to an end. So yeah, I think a place like Detroit would be good. Even Atlanta. Atlanta can possibly make a move
Boy, you
for
really
for
don't
someone
like
like Aiton.
Clint Capella. Like, what did Clint
Well, it's
Capella
not.
do to you?
Well, he's done nothing to me. I actually have no problem with him, but Atlanta has to look long term, and
And
I think I think looking towards maybe a Aiton and a Young connection, it's a possibility that could work. I mean, you have two top five picks in that 2018 draft. I believe it was 18 draft. Yeah, 2018 draft. I think that would be a nice fit there.
and
And again,
here goes
Atlanta's
one
another
for you.
place, and that's another place, Atlanta, where for some reason there's not a ton of free agents running there. But what other place you have?
Well, I was gonna say the Spurs have the third
Yeah.
most cap space. No, I'm sorry, they have the fourth most cap space. And you want to talk about people not running any place? Would they overpay to get a guy like Aiton?
Well, I mean, when you say overpay, you know, I don't know if the Spurs are not. I don't think they tend to like to overpay for players. But if they feel like whatever dollar amount that is not overpaying, I think they would do it. Um,
Because
and I
I
like
think
that. I
Aiden.
actually like that.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
actually like that. I actually like that too because with Aiton, he resembles David Robinson. He may not have the exact game as him, but with Popovich there, good teaching. I mean, he can maybe get off to a better start in his career, and that might be a good place for him. So, what was you going to say? You had something
Well, I
else
was
you're
gonna
going to say
say
there.
I was gonna say I think his number might be 30 and 30 mil a year. So
Yeah.
he probably wants to get as close to that as he can because I know he's not thinking 40 or 35. So he probably wants to get it as close to 30 as he can. Uh, so whoever wants to give him that, and we know how NBA teams are. So somebody's probably going to give him that. So then it comes down to is Phoenix going to match? I think Phoenix should match and or maybe I don't know if you can do a signing trade when they're a restricted free agent. Maybe you can, but I think if Phoenix has the opportunity to match, they should match and then just trade them to whoever.
Well, however all that works, I think at the end of the day, he won't be in the Suns uniform. That's the way the stars are lining up for him. But that's okay. There's an opportunity for him to try something different, and that'll that'll make it the offseason interesting as well for the Suns and see what kind of move comes from that. I
Okay.
talked about it a long time ago. I talked about Sabonis playing for them. That never worked
Yes.
out, but I think they could probably make another play so in another direction for the Suns. But go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, and because I don't think we either one of us hit on this, why don't the Suns want Aiden? Because he was the number one pick. They picked him.
Yeah.
What is it now that they've decided that because you're saying, and I think, excuse me, you and I are possibly saying that the Suns won't even try to match it, and typically teams do try to match if someone is a restricted free agent. They go out there, so for them to not even want to match means something has gone terribly wrong.
Well, that'll come out one day. It's got to be something as far as philosophy goes with the coaching staff and Aiton. It could be style of play. It could be him not being the option that he wants to be. It could be anything. But I think it's
Yeah.
more to it than just his contract. And
Yes.
so,
it's got to be. I would say something else
Yeah.
because
Yep.
I
But
don't
it
think
looks
he's
like
a
he won't be
bad
there.
player.
Yeah, by no means. And in another place, he'd be able to get more opportunities, more possessions, and his stats will look a lot better, and maybe he'll grow. So sometimes it's not where you start. It's where your
Oh,
next move is.
absolutely. Look at quote unquote. And I don't know if you're going to bring this up. I hope I'm not stealing the thunder, but Rasheed Wallace. Think about how things started for him versus how they ended.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people may not remember he played with the
Yeah.
Bullets,
Yes.
the Washington Bullets.
Well, say a lot of people like to say the Bullets. Who are the
Yeah,
Bullets?
yeah,
Is this hockey or something?
yeah. And then also, since you mentioned Rashid, don't forget about Chauncey Billups, who was highly
Yeah,
drafted, lottery pick,
that actually
and
might be a better one than Rasheed. So good one.
yeah, a lot of people think of
'Cause
Big Shot. Big Shot. What is it, Mr. Big Shot? But he wasn't Mr. Big Shot in Boston, and in Miami. It was Orlando, and then I think he played in Denver for a while, and
Denver, yes,
yeah. So he
he
kind of
was
moved
trying to
around.
find his niche, and he's
Yeah.
a Hall of Famer now, isn't he?
Well, we have to put that on our social media page. That's
I
the question of the
ah,
day, Zach.
I believe he is. So if
Yeah,
Aiden follows
we'll
that
definitely put it
path,
there.
champion and Hall of Famer.
Well, and again, when I say Denver too, it wasn't the Denver when he was playing with Allen Iverson. It was Denver before
Yes,
that. So he
yes.
really moved around. Yeah. So
No,
we'll see how
he
that
was
works out for eight.
he was for a good little bit. He was seen as a bust.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as NBA standard goes,
Yeah,
we don't want Kwame Brown to jump through the screen on us. But yeah, man, let's get
I'm
to the
good
next
with
one.
Kwame.
Yeah,
Hey,
I like
Kwame, what's
Kwame.
up?
He just doesn't like that word. But yeah, man, how about this gentleman? I did mention Aiton to the Hawks. But there's talk about the Portland Trailblazers trying to work something out to maybe get Collins. And it looks like Portland is definitely trying to keep Damian Lillard and put something around Lillard. So there's some talk about Collins ending up there. Now Collins can probably end up multiple places, but it was interesting that Portland became one of those targets. And they're
Uh,
definitely eyeing there. And Zach, they also the way they're trying to do it is, from what I was reading, is that Portland is looking to maybe try to get Collins and switch out of that number 7 draft pick. Your thoughts?
well, you and I have talked about this off the air, and I think a little bit on the air. Uh, there's something off with Collins and Young. Whatever it is, they just don't mesh. And in football, if guys on the defense don't like the quarterback, that's fine because you have two different units. You can even have quote unquote DBs that maybe don't like the defensive lineman, or you can have wide receivers and maybe your running back not get along because those are separate units and guys don't necessarily have to be together. In
Mm-hmm.
basketball, it really is a chemistry thing. You spend a lot of time together. It's a small group of guys, and your team personality is probably going to draw from whoever your star is. Trae Young is a star. If whatever, right or wrong, whatever Collins has going on that he doesn't like about Trae Young, he just has to get over it or he has to get up out of there. So that's probably good. 7 pick. I think I'm not sure what they get for it, but you can get a prospect, right? Pretty good prospect.
Yeah, yeah,
I just
absolutely.
say I just say I don't necessarily understand it from Portland's standpoint because to me, Portland needs to do a rebuild. I could see pulling in Collins and you team him with Simons, but they need to come off of like the Damian Lillard thing is past.
Well, we're definitely gonna find out for sure what they're gonna do. I would say somewhere between now and the draft, we'll know, or probably even draft day. So yeah, stay tuned for the draft, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll have a draft preview show as well. So get ready for
Yay!
that.
I don't think
All
I'll be
right,
on
Zach.
there, but yes.
Uh, Yep. But you'll be somewhere in the picture. But let's talk
Okay.
about your team, the Miami Heat.
Oh
Another
no. Look. Oh
player that is
no.
definitely, yep, your team. They definitely. There's a lot of talk now because of Quinn Snyder stepping down and in Utah as their head coach. That the player that was joined to him um, is now looking to possibly try to go down to Miami, and that's Donovan Mitchell. He's a little concerned about Snyder stepping down. I think he does need to pump the brakes just a little bit because you don't know who Utah may hire. I'm hearing that Fizdale, uh, due to his connections with Dwayne Wade, who has a small piece of the Jazz franchise, is looking at Fizdale, and he's been a solid coach whenever he had opportunity. But Mitchell's looking to join the Heat. What do you think about that?
But I would say for Utah, that would be a very bad deal. I think they have Mitchell under contract for 3, 4 more years. So if he don't want to play basketball, that's almost one of them situations. Say, well, enjoy retirement for the next 4 years because you ain't got to trade him or do anything with him. You could tell him show his ass up at work, and he need to work. If you're going to move off of him, Utah, because in that situation, you're telling me you get Tyler Hero. What else are you getting from Miami besides Tyler Hero? I'm not sure you're getting enough. It, uh, if you're going to give
It
up,
probably won't be a 1-for-1.
well, I mean, I'm saying, but Tyler Hero is going to be the key piece because I'm guessing that picture you had Jimmy Butler in it and it had Bam in it. So what?
Well, Pat Riley ain't gonna give up them.
So
Not if he's getting Mitchell.
okay. So what other assets does he have then that he's giving up? Because Tyler Hero ain't enough for me to come off of him. I would look at, and I can't really think off the top of my head of teams that have some nice young assets, but I'd be trying to send them to a team that, has some nice young assets or somebody that's at the top of the draft, like
Hmm.
maybe Orlando, even though I don't know what Orlando has out there. Who has the number one pick?
Orlando.
Oh, Orlando has the number one pick. Oh yeah, they're trying to get
Yep.
I'm thinking of they're gonna get the probably the kid out of Auburn. I was thinking of whoever's got number two. Oh, OKC. And they're thinking about
Okay,
getting
see that too.
the young man out of freaking
You talking about the one out of Gonzaga?
yes. But
You talking about
OKC
Chet?
kind of yeah. But OKC kind of isn't into trying to get veterans like that. So even
No.
though they like that would be the team because they have the
Hmm.
young pieces that you maybe could put out there that would you go around. But so I don't know. It'd be
Yeah,
great for
it's gonna be
Miami.
interesting.
Like if Miami could
Yeah,
do it, it'd be great. But I
yeah,
just don't see how it benefits Utah.
yeah. We'll see how the general managers put that together
Yeah.
and see how that works. But yeah, that's that. Look, I think that will be a piece that the Heat, if they had Mitchell in this playoff, I think they might have made it to the final. Because look at what they did with what they had this season, and that's definitely an upgrade from Lowry.
Can Mitchell play without the ball in his hand?
Well, I think so.
Because
I
I would
think
say
he could.
If Mitchell can play without the ball in his hand, you just said Collins is up for sale. I'd rather get Collins than probably Tyler Hero and uh a DeAndre Hunter. I'd see what Atlanta might give me, and for them to add Mitchell,
Yeah, be interesting, Zach. All right, let's talk about another
it's
player on
what?
your team.
Oh
Oh,
no!
you still
Look,
there?
here we go again. Oh no!
Yep. Your favorite player. Well, first let's put up the guy that makes it happen down there in Miami, and that's Pat Riley. Pat Riley had a lot to say and about a lot of his players so far. He definitely he's had some things to say about Kyle Lowry. He said that if Lowry comes back next year, uh, they'll definitely have him in better shape.
If
So yeah,
if
it's a possibility.
he's under
Yeah,
contract,
it's a possibility. Well, it's a possibility they can move him. Maybe he gets traded in some kind of package. But the guy that we need to talk about is Bam, your favorite player on the Heat. Bam. And Pat Riley is saying that he's standing up for him. He said he's always getting somebody open. Duncan, he's referring to Duncan Robinson, should give him half his check. Tyler, he's referring to Tyler Hero, should give him half his check. And Max, he's referring to Max Struess, the sharpshooter that they have as well. So it looks like Pat Riley is standing up for Bam. What do you think about Pat Riley on this and
Well,
Bam?
first I would say, Pat Riley, ain't nobody got to give Bam half their check because Bam is already making a good bit of money. He don't need nobody else's check. Hell, he already took half of a whole bunch of people's check. But look, what is that they say? Old saying, step on the dog tail, they'll holler. Why is Pat Riley saying this? Because something went wrong. If nothing was wrong, you wouldn't have to talk about this. But I will say for you and I, and more so for me, even though I was a football guy, why couldn't I have been born like 6'9", 6'10"? Because if you get $30 million a year just for setting screens, then I'll set screens all damn $30 million to set screens and score 8 points. Like Pat Riley just needs to stop it. And he's supposed to be the guy that gives tough love or whatever. And maybe this is where you see that transition. Because 30 years ago, maybe he doesn't say this. Bam played bad. I don't know why in society we can't say people didn't do their job. Bam Adebayo makes $30 million a year. If Bam Adebayo is going to get out here and cry about whatever, then we just do what we do. Like Ben Simmons. Doc and Embiid said what they said, and Ben Simmons chose to do what he did. Okay, if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. But people shouldn't be beyond criticism when they making $30 million a year. Like, look, I'll be honest. If you and I were making $30 million a year right now, and people want to criticize me and tell me I'm not doing a better job or I need to do better, I would get better and I would take the criticism happily. Bam needs to get better. And we're going to talk about, or at least I'm going to talk about it, the guy for the Celtics. But you can't be getting outplayed by Robert Williams when you make $30 million a year, when you're supposed to be the number 2 guy. He's supposed to be the number 2 guy in scoring threat. I'm a fan of Dennis Rodman. I like Dennis Rodman. I thought Dennis Rodman was a key player. You tell me many a time Dennis Rodman was a role player. And I don't think on any team Dennis Rodman was on, he was expected to be the number 2 scorer. So it just is what it is. And these teams, these people in charge, they need to hold individuals accountable. I think players can hold organizations accountable, kind of like Kobe did to the Lakers when he asked for that trade. And organizations can hold players accountable. I'm very disappointed in a whole bunch of the Miami Heat players. Bam Adebayo would be at the top of the list. I would say I was disappointed in Kyle Lowry, but Kyle Lowry did exactly what I thought he was going to do. And now Pat Riley's trying to pass the buck on Kyle Lowry, but he wants to take up for Bam. Okay.
All right. Well, you and Pat Riley need to have a meeting and get all this straightened out in Miami, Zach. All right.
If he gets Donovan Mitchell, that will fix things because it moves Bam to being your third option or as he said, a $30 million a year fullback.
Wow.
Good luck.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll see what the Heat do in offseason to retool a little bit and try to make another run at the NBA Finals and a possible championship. But speaking of championships, Heavenly Spa Mobile, Heavenly Spa Mobile has won the best of the best 3 straight years. They're working on the 4th. And we're going to let LaTanya let you know about her business right now.
Hi, I'm LaTanya. I'm the owner of Heavenly Spa Mobile. I've been in this business 19 years plus. If you're in dire need of a massage for achy muscles, back, neck, shoulder, hip, legs, feet, come on down and schedule an appointment with me. You can't go wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking care of you because no one's going to be able to take care of you. I'm located at 2484 Ingleside Avenue, and that's in Building 8, and that's in Macon, Georgia. Again, you can go online to Heavenly Spa Mobile to schedule your future appointment, or you can reach out to me at 478-747-9231. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Latanya. And I voted, so I hope you did too.
Yeah, I wish I had a little sticker for every time I voted, but I didn't have one. All right, but the vote is cast in, so check out Heavenly Spa Mobile, where relaxation is the key. All right, Zach, next segment. This is one of your favorite segments, this or that.
It is.
It's a
You can
slight
get with this.
surprise. Uh-huh.
I was gonna
Go ahead,
say
finish it out.
That's okay. Or you can get with that. You know, that's back in our youth.
Okay. All right, you're really excited, man. So I'm gonna give you 3 players since we're talking about the NBA Finals. All right, so the Boston Celtics are a historic program. They're one of the original NBA teams, and they're just chock full of all-time great players. And what I want you to do here, Zach, is I'll join in as well. But we have
Thank
to
you.
start. We have to start one. We have to sit one, and we have to cut one.
Start,
So,
sit, cut.
yep. So here are the 3 Boston Celtics.
Wow.
Who you starting and who you benching and who you gonna cut? Larry Bird, Kevin Garnett, and Bill Russell.
Well, I'm gonna start Russell. I'm gonna show Russell the respect he deserves. I don't want Mr. Brown fussing me. I will sit Larry Bird, and I'm gonna cut KG.
All right, this is the easy segment here because I had the same answers. Bill Russell. I mean, look, 11 championships in 13 seasons. You're not topping that. And Larry Bird, he's an all-time. I mean, he's an all-time great. He's a monster. Kevin Garnett is again another Hall of Famer. But at least with the first 2 that we just mentioned, they're Boston through and through. And I know Garnett took in that Boston pride and everything, and he probably going to you know express that he's a Celtic too, but can't be bigger than those 2, Bird and Russell. And so you have 11 championships, and then Bird has 3, I believe. I'm going to go with Russell as the starter, and then I'm going to go with Bird. He's coming off the bench, and then Kevin Garnett will have to work his way into the lineup down the line.
Sounds good.
All right. So we're going to jump into the NBA Finals now. Game 2 is in the books. Boston was able to tie the series. They was able to tie the series up at a game apiece with the 107-88 victory over. Golden State defeated the Boston Celtics 107-88 to tie the series at 1 apiece. Zach, what was the keys to that to the game in Game 2?
Okay, I'll bring up the Boston points, let you jump in, and then I'll do the Golden State part. But the first thing that I'm noticing, and I've talked about this a good little bit for Boston the past few weeks. Robert Williams is too important. Like Robert Williams is either going to get a really, really big contract, or Boston needs to go out and find another legit big man or whatever. Because I'll say it again, Robert Williams should not dictate not only you winning games, but being competitive in games. Because when Robert Williams doesn't play, they have a very difficult time competing, and they get pulled out in a lot of them games. Just shouldn't happen. And then this, I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back because I hit on this, and you amanned it. Too much Jason Tatum. Like everybody was so focused from the Boston side of, oh, what happened with Jason Tatum? What happened with this? It's a team game. Ultimately, you want to get the dub, and always better to have a bad win than a good loss. The Celtics had a bad win, quote unquote. If you go the first one, though, in theory, it wasn't, because you had a lot of guys touching the ball, a lot of guys shooting, a lot of guys involved, which is good. Now you get this type of game out of Tatum, but you didn't get anything out of anybody else except Brown. And if I'm Golden State, I might try to stick with this. Can Brown and Tatum get you 80? I'll see. So that's kind of from the Boston perspective. And as I said, I'll let you jump in.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you talked about the Boston perspective, but I'm going to just touch on that just a tad. That Boston also turned the ball over a lot.
Yes.
At the 19 turnovers, I think it resulted in like 33 points. For Golden State off of those turnovers. So when you turn the ball over a lot, and a lot of those turnovers were unforced too, that spells disaster, especially with a team like Golden State that's playing at home, that's going to have that feel for being at home, and they also like to shoot threes, so they're going to punish you that way. So the turnovers was really did Boston in. As far as Golden State, Klay Thompson didn't play well again, but they was able to get a lot from Jordan Poole, and Jordan Poole actually delivered in game 2 and gave them that shot in the arm that they needed, gave them that extra score. So really at this point, they really haven't had to have game 6 Klay yet. And so I think those are the things there. Like with Curry, he's going to give you pretty much what he's going to give you every game. And so that's the constant. But for Poole to have the game he did, I think that helped a lot. And we're going to talk about another individual later on in more detail. But Draymond Green, the energy that he brought, the mind games that he played on the Celtics, on a lot of those Celtic players, in particular Tatum and Jaylen Brown, like he really agitated them and really got them out of their game. They lost focus. And so you combine all those things, and then also Golden State was desperate. Like we talked about that on the last show.
Yes.
You don't want to go down 0-2, and then the 2 games that you lost were your home games on top of that. And then, as you stated, trying to win 4 out of 5 after that, that's not a good formula. So Golden State pretty much had to get this game, and they did what they needed to do, and Boston helped them. Boston helped them along the way.
Well, you covered probably the points I was going to go over with the Warriors. I would say, like from my standpoint, I didn't think the Warriors were that good. Curry is playing well, but you're not really getting much from everybody else. I kind of thought the big problem is when you look at the final score, Boston just didn't score enough. But the Warriors, they shouldn't be smelling themselves so much that they feel great about all of this, because you got to be able to score more than 88 points. So Boston should be able to get at least 100 points. And you talked about the turnover. But more, and I like what you emphasized, Draymond Green. And I mean, if this was back in the day, somebody would punch Draymond Green in his face. And they're not going to do it because this is not what they do in the league now. But Ime Udoka needs to have one of his role guys come off the bench, and they need to pull a Karate Kid where he says, sweep the leg. Memphis, who was it? Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks kind of sort of tried to do it. And congratulations to Gary Payton. Is it the second or the third?
The second.
Congratulations to Gary Payton II being able to come back and play. Good for him. I'm glad he gets to get a taste of the finals after his elbow injury. I think he still has some of that in his head, because on the one where he got fouled by Brown, which probably wasn't, I don't think it was much of a foul. You would have to tell me. I thought maybe in the past that's one he would have dunked, and it looks like he kind of held back, hesitated or whatever, instead of finishing that like he would. But Dylan Brooks, he took him out, and I don't think I'm not sure if you felt this way, but I felt like that was the Draymond, you go get one of our players, this is what's going to happen. And the only thing he did wrong is that should have came either Curry or you go after Draymond. And that's what the Celtics need to find. What would the word be? Goon?
Yeah.
I think because Draymond is just doing too much, and you're gonna hit on this. It's obvious either he's not doing enough to get himself ejected from the game, so you can't expect the referees to handle that. That's okay. Go handle it yourself. But I, I thought kind of, as I said, Robert Williams too important, and I like your point of Draymond having way too much influence on the game for a guy to score. What did he score? 4 points yesterday? 6 points?
I think he had 9.
9? Okay.
Yeah.
That's but he's way too much of an effect for a guy scoring 9 points.
Yeah. Yeah, Draymond just, he was just getting under the skin of a lot of the players, some of the key players on Boston, and they lost their focus. They were more concerned about and there you go right there, Zach.
Agreed.
9 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. So he had a 9, 5, and 7 game, Draymond Green.
and it
34,
didn't it feel
34
like he
minutes.
played, and I would say, didn't it feel like he played bigger or had more of an impact than that? Because I felt his impact on the game.
Well, yeah, and that's his job. I mean, he did his job. I mean, and that's why we're talking about as far as the keys to the game, game two, that we're giving Draymond credit there on what he did, because he did find a way to energize his team, or at least make sure that they get off to a better start. I mean, not a better start, because they did start off great in game one, but the fact that they really got to Boston, what I mean, they didn't let Boston really just get rolling, and so they spent too much time worrying about other stuff, as we stated earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but no, they for the next game, right, for game three, I believe Boston, they just need to get back to basics, get back to, spreading it out. And right now, Jalen Green, I mean, not Jalen, yeah, Jalen Green, that's his name. I'm Brown, Jalen
Brown.
Brown, who wears green, uh, but Jalen Brown, he's the one that really needs to be the guy who's scoring the points. And, he may make your prediction come true as far as him being MVP if Boston can pull it out. But that would be fine, because really at this point, Boston needs to just, play a team game, more
Yes.
of a team game, spread everything out. And that way they will get the easy buckets and continue to keep pressure on Golden State. But, they got away from that in game two. But that's the key for game three for me. They need to have focus. Don't let Draymond get under their skin, because if you just take it to him, because he's 6'7", and the two wing players for Boston are 6'7" and up. So they should just punish him. That's what they need to try to do. Either get him out, get him isolated, take him off the dribble, get him in some foul trouble, frustrate him a little bit, and those antics will go away at that point.
Well, I now I'm gonna bring out my football mentality. I think you match physicality with physicality. I know it's basketball or whatever. I can't have a guy out there playing like, in my mind, I can't have a guy out there playing like that. If I was playing, I wouldn't allow Draymond Green to play like that. I guess Draymond and I would get thrown out because I'm coming at him to do whatever. Or, as I said, I will go after Curry. So I think I like what you're saying as far as what they need to do to neutralize him, but I think you need to do a little bit more to as far as the maybe antics that he's trying to pull to doing it, because if the referees aren't going to call it, you need to do it and escalate it to a point where they just got to call every little thing that happens, and now that eliminates him too, because they're going to try and keep it clean. But once again, you can elaborate on that more. And I will just go this from Golden State standpoint. Freaking Curry, man, and his ability to shoot with range. He would be so frustrating to guard. And for a lot of it, I don't understand what they're doing. And I get the bigs like who's it? Tice on one, and you're saying drop. Like he wasn't playing drop, or he didn't really mean to play drop. He was trying to be up. It's just that he ain't up far enough when they run that damn pick and roll, because if he gets up anymore, he's going to be up at the damn sideline when they're running. And Curry just pulls, and even when he doesn't make it, it's just the fact that he's pulling. And you're like, MF. I did get up there like I'm supposed to, and that's wonderful. So I think as long as Golden State can do that, that is a big weapon. So I think people should be getting the idea to see how much impact Curry has on a defense and how much he pulls towards him. And Klay Thompson just has to be better. And you and I had this conversation on offline, so I'm gonna bring it online just a little bit. We need to stop as people giving individuals credit for things that they ain't actually doing. Like, everybody talks about how great Klay Thompson is, and he's been a good player, but I don't know where he got off thinking that he was a top 75 guy all time. Winning championships is a team award, and he contributed to it, but that's a team award. And more to the point, everybody will tell you what type of great defender Klay Thompson is. He's made one All NBA defensive team, and he made the second team. So how's a dude that is a second team All NBA defensive player one time, this great defender? Like, if he was this great, he'd be getting it all these other years. Patrick Beverly, I believe, has made it 3 times, and I think he made first team 1 time. Klay has been bad, and just choose. Offensively, he's been bad. Defensively, he's been bad. They gonna need him to be better. But I think we're at the point now that maybe we need to stop giving him such a bump and just understand it. You got the team aspect of Klay and what he's done, but from an individual accolade standpoint or player, he's just a good NBA player. And we've seen plenty of them before.
All right. Well, which team needs to win game 3, Zach?
I think Golden State does. They probably can withstand because this is what I'd love to tell you, that if Boston wins game 3, Boston would have the eye of the tiger and they're gonna go out there and win game 4. But the way Boston plays, that might not be the case. But I can see Boston losing game 3, come back, win game 4, and then somehow figure out a way to go win game 5 because they just that helter skelter. Whereas Golden State, as I said, even yesterday, I don't think they played a great game yesterday. You talked about all of the turnovers. Yeah. I kind of think Golden State is teetering, that they could get rolled if they don't get things together, because I haven't seen much outside of Curry. I know you talked about Poole, and Poole got some shots to go in, but a lot of that was, the 2 long jumpers that he had and then some garbage time points. So I'm not confident in Golden State's offense right now. So for them to get a win just so they could kind of have a deep breath would be good for them.
All right. Yeah, I believe Boston needs game 3. I think they need to go ahead and get game 3. If they want to seize the possible momentum of Golden State. If they can go up 2-1, that will, basically if they go up 2-1, then what that means is that they cut back on their turnovers, they tighten up their defensive schemes, and they're back on track. So I think that you don't want to give this series, get the control back to Golden State. You want to go ahead and establish yourself as, hey, we take game 2, and now at the very least, we know this thing is going 6. So Boston, they need to go ahead and get game 3, in my opinion. If not, looks like Golden State will be able to, lap them a little bit here and feel better about themselves. Because as you stated, I mean, they're not playing as a team. They're really not playing great basketball. No. They're just playing. They played well enough to win that game. But really, they're not playing at an elite level right now, in my opinion. But yeah, so I have Boston need to win game 3. All right, let's give our predictions for this series. For game 3. I say that Boston needs to win game 3, and I'm going to stick with them winning game 3. Actually, I think they're going to take game 3. I think they're going to have the, going back to their home court. They're going to make those defense adjustments. I think what Draymond Green did to them in game 2 is going to wake them up. And if Udoka is the coach that he's been proven to be so far, I think he's going to emphasize that, and I think he's going to get them refocused and not get caught up in the into the mind games. And they just need to play basketball. If they can do that, they should be fine. I mean, they played against Giannis for 2 weeks, so that's a more dangerous force than playing against Draymond. So they shouldn't let Draymond get in their head like that. What say you, Zach? Who do you have winning game 3?
Well, all y'all tell me all the time that experience matters and blah, 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 blah. So if experience matters, Golden State understands this moment and what they need to do, and that they haven't played well. So I'm going to take Golden State to win this game. I'm not going to do it with my chest out, as Kevin Hart would say, but I'm going to take them to get a nail biter, get it back to worst case being 2-2 going back to San Francisco. And I'll say I expect Klay Thompson to have a 20-plus point game and shoot well this game.
All right. There we go. We have a nice split there. So we'll see how it turns out. And this is a key game. Game 3 is a key.
Yes.
When you're on those odd numbers, it's definitely a key game to get, establish your position there in the series.
Whoever gets it, as I said, you can take a deep breath. Now, I say that to say that if Boston wins game 3 and then loses game 4, then they actually lose some momentum. So if you're Boston, you want to get both of these.
Yep. That'd be nice for them, but we'll see how it turns out. We talked about Draymond Green a little bit earlier, and now we're back to Draymond Green because there's been a lot of discussion about it. Should he not have received a second technical foul in the scenarios and all that? So let's talk about Draymond Green, not just him solely, but let's talk about the way that it was handled. So before we do that, Zach, let's go ahead and put a video out here so the audience can have a look at the play. We'll play a couple clips here. How about that?
Sounds good. Let them get their money worth.
On the defensive end, being this small.
So tiny. And that's an offensive foul, I believe. Wow.
Green and Grant Williams tumbling to the court. The foul is going to go against Grant Williams, Jeff.
It does, but Draymond Green, we saw it earlier with Jason Tatum. He's going to wreak havoc. He just runs right through him. I'm not sure exactly what Grant Williams.
And a technical foul, Jeff, going to be called against Draymond Green.
But going back to the foul, I'm not sure what Grant Williams is supposed to do. He's in legal guarding position, and a guy just comes in there and just puts his head under him and just shoves it.
Well, now, if I'm just going to comment real quick, kind of like what I was saying earlier, notice when they got locked up and they're doing the
they did that.
Like Grant Williams, and I know Grant Williams wants to play and all of that stuff, but you Grant Williams, how about you push Draymond? And look, when you're a tough guy, it's one or two ways it's got to go. You can't just let people be pushing you when you're the tough guy, and then you just kind of walk away or you singing or whatever. Like Ron Artest did that sometimes, i.e. in the Malice in the Palace, but that's because, he had to. But when the tough guy has to walk away for whatever reason, that's you winning. Because if they did that, my guess would be it's going to force the refs to have to do something.
Yep. All right. Next clip.
Zach Zarba, Tony Brothers, Josh Tiven are officials tonight. And Tony Brothers steps in along with Zach Zarba to ask Draymond Green and Jason Tatum to Step back a little bit, fall back. Somebody might need to tell Tony to step back. And there it is. Tatum called for the foul. You can almost feel that, sense that coming, guys. Sideline out of bounds. Golden State basketball. Boston up by 5. Golden State off to a little.
And see, now I'm gonna add there, when Draymond's doing all the stuff that he's doing, and I see this when I play basketball because I'm in that Draymond Greenish role without all of the extra stuff he does. But when you get dudes kind of like a Tatum that's more of a finesse player, now he's trying to play tough. Like, you just don't go from being a finesse guy to now you're going to be a maybe non-finesse guy.
Yeah, and then this is also Draymond. We talked about it earlier about playing the mind games and getting ahead of the players.
Yes.
And that's exactly what he's doing, is getting in the head of Tatum, because Tatum is better than him right now.
Yes.
But he's not as experienced as Draymond. So Draymond is like making up for the lack of the talent by getting in your head. And he picked up a foul that he didn't really need to pick up, because is Draymond gonna catch that and shoot it? You know what I mean? So he's not really thinking right now. He's more focused on all the extracurricular instead of just staying in the game, staying focused. And that's a, you know, if you go back and watch some old Dennis Rodman clips, that's what he did to a lot of players. And that's what Draymond's trying to do here. Well, not trying to do. He's actually accomplished doing it last night.
And it kind of full disclosure, Mr. 411 and I played a lot of basketball together. Mr. 411 is not the quote unquote enforcer when we're on the court. So he's not going to necessarily get involved in that, though he has his moments where he may get riled up and do that. I'm the one that has to go out there and kind of do those type of things. And look, I'll say this about Draymond Green too. I like what you said where Tatum's mindset is, because on the other end, when you're a guy like Draymond, and I can say this because, as I said, I play with the more physicality and things of that nature when you're the less talented or less skilled player, that you are in a good mindset because this is kind of what you do. So you're not like getting all flustered or mad and angry and you seeing red. You just playing your normal game. Whereas Tatum and or Jaylen Brown, I don't know if you have any Jaylen Brown clips.
No, that's next.
Producers have any, but they're the ones, as you said, and you said it very eloquently. They're getting out of their game when they shouldn't be, because they're way more skilled.
Yeah, at this point, and that's what he's using those mind games. All right, here's the clip of the night right here, and this is the big talk about everything, because Draymond already had one technical at this point. So here we go.
The two guys are going after each other. Jeff, I think you hit the nail on the head, and Mark too. Mark Jackson, you hit the nail on the head where you have to consider one player has definitely a technical foul. Is this enough to call a double T and eject the one player? Personally, I would say nothing, and I would just let it diffuse as that. That's just my opinion.
Well, Steve, my question to you is, as a referee over there in the huddle, are you thinking about the fact that Draymond has one technical already?
Absolutely. I think that's part of good officiating, is the fact that you have to know who has the technical fouls. And in this situation, one of the players does. Is this enough to warrant an ejection is what you have to think about.
See, a lot of people disagree with that, Steve, but I think that's what separates.
After review, the defensive foul on Green stands. There's no further penalties on this.
Okay, I'm going to let you take over. I'm just going to say this, and you'll have to explain it to me. I don't understand that. Because if the player had 0 technical fouls and you would give him a technical for that, then why wouldn't you give him a second tech for the same thing? So this is not me saying, so I'm clear, that play warranted that. I just don't agree with the fact of it, just because a player gets a tech, that now we can't give them another tech unless they just go jump up in the stands. And this is where I want you to explain to me, because I'm a rules guy. I don't believe that the referee should be adding into the rules. The rule is the rule. And help educate me and I guess everybody else of why you would make a difference. And look, don't blow smoke up my ass. Let me know, are the referees taking liberties that they're not supposed to take with the rule book when it comes to text?
Okay, well, they're not taking liberties, so we'll close that. What it is that it's using good judgment. It's not saying that a player shouldn't get a technical uh, because they already have one technical. There's some automatic things that they can do. Like if you curse me out, okay, that's an automatic tech. If you shove somebody to the floor, do something real blatant. This situation right here, I mean, basically what Javi is saying is you have to use a little common sense as well before you make that judgment, that ruling. And looking at that play, I personally didn't see enough to eject him. I'm gonna give him a second technical foul on that until I went back and saw the replay where he pulled Jaylen Brown's shorts. That's where he should have got a technical foul in that scenario. But as you could tell right then and there, no one was talking about that part. They were just talking about the fall. And even with Jaylen Brown on the shot, he stuck his leg out. He didn't go up and down like in the phone booth. He stuck his leg out, and that kind of helped assist all that as far as those two players going to the floor. Um, that's a play. In that particular play, I would have passed on it and not do the tag until, without knowing, going back looking at it again, where Draymond Green pulled the shorts. You have to be careful with Draymond Green. He's very clever, and he got away with that one. Now, if you look at this graphic real quick, Zach, down near the bottom, right there, and you can help me read that. I don't have my shades on.
It's not up right now.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
It is not.
We may have to put it on our page. But down there near the bottom, the officials have. Oh, wow. I'm surprised it's not up yet. Okay. But the officials have the option there. As far as technical fouls, it says in the NBA rules that assessment of a technical foul shall be avoided whenever and wherever possible. So it's telling you in the book, it's telling them in the book, that they need to try to avoid it wherever possible. It doesn't mean that you don't give it. It just means that you need to really make sure that it's a good one before you do that. So that's basically what liberties that are allowed for the official in that case. Now, again, if he did something that was just, Stevie Wonder saw it, then of course, he's got to go. I will say this: I think Draymond gets away with a lot throughout his career, throughout the seasons. There's plenty of opportunities for him to have multiple texts and automatic text. So, but when we're talking about just that particular play, I think that's how that went down. But as you can see there, that gives the liberty there, and that's from the NBA. So the NBA will need to make that adjustment if they want technical fouls to be, cut and dry.
Well,
and
of
so
course they don't. I mean, because why would you want your players thrown out of games unless I think like you spoke on, unless it's like egregious.
Right. Absolutely. But yeah, that's it right there. But I'll say if you get a chance, go back and look at that. There's some other angles on there, and Draymond did, pull Jaylen Brown's shorts. So when he said in the post game interview, I was like,
yes.
I was like, yeah, this guy. I mean, look, Draymond, he's great at what he does, man. I mean, he really is.
But the problem isn't Draymond to me. The problem is Brown needs to come at him when he does that.
Saying. Make the situation worse. Yeah.
Like as smart as we want to talk about, LeBron was a smart one because LeBron, when he was down 3-1, he really blew up that whole issue to get Draymond ejected.
Yep, he sure did. Well, all right, man. We made it, Zach. We made it to the end. So great job. Appreciate everybody watching and listening. And man, we're gonna have to turn up again later on. There'll probably be around game 4 before you see us again, but we'll definitely be here for you. And so for Zach, I'm Mr. 411. We are the Sports Brothers. Hit that like, subscribe, notification buttons. We're out.
Have a good one.